fluids.
We got fluid. You know, okay, so I
fluids.
recently was like, I was thinking about how every year for like the Give-a-thon and stuff like that, we do a whole bunch of like super fun photos and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I really like all I really do is like either it's like smile or just like do like that kind of like far off look, like,
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
Have you seen the TikTok? Like, way to make your model face?
Oh, like raise your eyebrows.
Like smile, eyebrows, no smile.
I can't do it.
Yep.
You only look scared.
Hold on.
Still just look scared. Oh, there you go. Better. Working it. Cue the intro. What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
That's right. I'm here co-hosting with you today, Ben. And I gotta say, at the very least, I think at least my shirt knows what it's doing. I don't think your shirt hasn't. It's like, what you got going on over there?
Because it's like a hoodie / shirt.
Right. Yeah. You got like a t-shirt with a hood.
Well.
Yeah.
I have to tell you. Okay, so the gym that we go to is like it's underground, you know.
But like literally.
But literally. We work with a local trainer who is so good about like form and making sure you're doing like your lifts correctly and stuff, and it's like a very like intimate like gym setting, like you would never.
Yeah. Very community, small group based.
Very small group based. Yeah. Like you know everybody like in this gym well. Like you would never show up and be like, who is this person attending class today? Like you know everybody all the time and always. And so we were he wanted to make like a new batch of shirts recently, and he sent it over to me, and I was like, holy goodness, is that a t-shirt with a hoodie? I am in so hard. Mm-hmm. And I love it.
Yeah.
I was like, honestly, I was very excited about it. And I was like, is this more like a fall type of thing? Like, is it like an almost cool weather type of apparel? And you know what? It's a hot summer day and I'm wearing it, and it's comfy, it's cozy, it's cool.
You know, I think it does look like to be moisture wicking of some. I guess if it rains, you'll be lightly protected, but not on your arms.
Not on my arms.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But your hair will be good.
Thank the goodness.
I do like it. It looks very nice. If people watching can see it. If you're just listening, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a t-shirt with a hood on the back.
It's a t-shirt with a hood on the back.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, at some point in time, I don't know what it's gonna be. Like maybe it'll just be like we'll call it like the Ben Carlin hoodie or something.
Yeah.
And it'll just be like we'll just have t-shirts that have a hood, and like I'll have some type of Ben Carlinism on the.
I think the fact that it's a t-shirt makes it work a lot more, because let me tell you, in high school, once upon a time, our like down the street neighbors sold like sports apparel or something. Do you remember this?
I do. It was like their entire garage was full of like it was like oddly like maybe slightly offshoot. I don't know if they were like misprints that he bought in bulk or something.
I have no idea what they had excess, and I remember there was like just to put the word out to the neighborhood kids that you can just come take stuff. Yeah. Just come. Do you want something? Come take it. And I went down there, and I remember two particular pieces of clothing that I got on this particular day, and both of them were in the same vein as the shirt you're wearing right now. One was a short sleeve hoodie from, I think, like Notre Dame or something.
I remember that one. Yeah.
I had no interest in attending Notre Dame or any fandom associated with them at all, but I thought it was like, oh, what cool short sleeve hoodie. This is different, neat. I'll take this for free. Why not?
Yeah.
And then I also had a completely sleeveless hoodie for Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I thought was a little bit cooler. I was much more into like the University of Oregon.
Because of Steve Prefontaine.
Because of Steve Prefontaine, of course, you know, being all into cross country stuff. So that one made a little bit more sense to at least own. But let me tell you that I think I was singular in my admiration of the sleeveless or short-sleeved hoodie in high school, because not once was I able to get away with wearing either of these articles of clothing without being like, what is the point of that? What I don't get it. Like, it's like, guys, just I feel no matter, you could not stop the overreaction. It was unbelievable.
I merely argue that you were simply ahead of the game.
I think so.
A trend setter, if you will.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe I think maybe there were misprints. So maybe what happened was it was originally like a full length hoodie, and someone was like, the arms got all jaggalied up, so we're just gonna cut those off and we'll make it sleeveless and or short sleeve.
Maybe.
And so maybe they were really the true cutting edge, no pun intended, folks in this particular situation. But it's interesting to me, yeah, because it's like now it really doesn't feel like that this is really even that ambitious of a combination of ideas to me.
Yeah, but it's like yours, like I think the problem was mine still looked like sweatshirts that had been transformed.
Yeah.
And it was this is so clearly, it's like that's not even close to being a sweatshirt. It's like, oh yeah, that's its own, it's completely adopted. It's not like taking two half ideas and making a whole.
Right.
It's just it's a complete new idea.
It's its own thing.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, because this is at best a t-shirt, so it's not even like, it wouldn't be like warm in the same capacity as a hoodie. There's for some reason I even feel like I would just probably never use the hood function. It's
just
like
fashion.
The hood is it's like an accessory of the shirt.
Right.
Because what everyone knows t-shirts needed was more accessories.
Right.
You know?
I mean, they had pockets, now they have hoods.
Right.
Sometimes you had that little front pocket, you know?
Oh yeah. Okay. I
Sometimes you could have the crew neck or the V-neck, you know?
Hey, what about wallet chains?
Wallet chains?
What is the function of a wallet chain? Is this like a don't get pickpocketed type of device, like an anti-theft device for your wallet?
You know, I've never given it much thought. It to me was always strictly a fashion, so because it looks sort of like a choke collar that's attached to your wallet, but also your belt loop,
yeah,
right?
I think maybe. I don't actually know where it adheres
I don't actually know. I've never used one or worn one in any capacity, and nor have I even considered the function of one. But it almost must be that it is like there must be a clip on your wallet to clip to the chain that is then clipped to your pants or the inside of your pocket, right?
Like, this is the thing. I don't think in my entire life, 31 years of living, I have ever witnessed somebody who has a wallet chain actually pull out their wallet, because it seems like it could be cumbersome and or in the way.
Yeah.
You know, or like, you know, maybe there'd be a situation where you need to like show your ID, but you just want to show them like through like the clear flap. And so like you'd like pull it out of your pocket and be like, can you lean in? Because I actually can't show it any further because my wallet chain.
Maybe the only other function I could think of it is if you had such deep pockets that you needed like an attachment to like fish it out. Like, hold on. Now,
let me retrieve
it. Reach in.
I have a chain.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like a well before, the way that people used to acquire water? This is much the same. I have a bucket on the end that my wallet sits in. That sits at the bottom of my pocket.
At the pockets. But you laugh, but I've never seen anyone carry a wallet chain that didn't also have extremely baggy pants.
This is reasonable.
You know?
This is reasonable. And you know, it's so funny too, because when we were growing up, the Lee pipes.
Yeah, the Lee pipes.
They were
the
super
jorts.
They were jorts that were like, but they were like cool, which I guess jorts are in again right now.
Yeah, like they go in and out.
I would wear a pair of jorts. I think I would probably go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Okay. Challenge accepted. But the Lee pipes back in the day, it was kind of like how far can we push the envelope on how baggy these pants can be. Like it was almost like, I think it must have been coming out of the era, because I remember our dad growing up had a pair of like, they were like 5-inch inseam like khaki shorts that he would use for like mowing the lawn or painting or something, but they were like shorts,
right?
Like shorter than average shorts. But it may have just been that we weren't alive yet during the era when this was like the in thing, and he just never like adopted like the baggy shorts look.
Right.
Which, to be fair, I do feel like now the shorter cut shorts are once again the in.
They're back in.
They're back in.
They live up to their this is a weird thing forever, because to me, shorts have never been really short.
Right.
You know, like for as long as since elementary school, like if I had shorts, they came down at least to my knees.
Right. Like I always sort of thought like the top of like right on the top end of like your kneecap was I think where it was kind of like that's where I wanted them to fall.
Yeah.
But like I remember when we were in elementary school, we got really into the Lee pipes. But I remember I had one friend whose name was Pablo, and he showed up to the 4th of July one year. So it was like, you know, school had ended and I hadn't seen him for like a month and a half or whatever. And I remember him showing up and he was wearing like jean shorts that were so long that they literally went all the way down to his feet, but they were like decidedly not jeans.
Pants.
Yeah, they weren't jeans. They were still jorts. They were just like if you were supposed to like if you know what I mean at the time
like each leg had its own dress on it.
Yeah, it was like a tube that like hung down, you know, and so like if you had been like maybe like 6'8", these could have been like appropriate shorts for you. But Pablo was probably, you know, being like a 4th grader was probably, I don't know, like 4'2". So they were just, it was like he went and bought the biggest shorts they sold at the Big and Tall and he wore them.
Right.
And it was, I to this day, it was always like, I think that was like the moment when I was like, okay, it's gone. Like maybe the long shorts, the long jeans, the long jorts have gone too long.
That's it. That was your tipping point.
Yeah. It was like, okay, it's like
gone too far.
I understand pushing the envelope, but it's like when you have like left like just shorts in your rearview mirror.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
hey, at some point you're just wearing pants.
At some point you're just wearing pants, and at this point in time they are not fashionable pants.
Right, yeah.
You know? Like you got like big tubes of denim.
Yeah.
Surrounding
Denim tubes, as I like to call them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, they're not jeans, they're not jorts, they're denim tubes.
There you go.
Or dubes.
Or dubes.
That's probably something else. I think.
Yeah.
I think dubes is already claimed.
Yeah.
By some other thing. Okay. So speaking of elementary school, actually, let me pause right there. Quick sidestep. I had somebody send me an email talking about our accents because
what accents?
We grew up.
What
in
are you talking about?
Like we grew up in the almost South, where like Virginia's like
you said South there.
The South.
The South.
So this person though, they said that like they can hear like the slightest like twang of me having like a more Southern accent than you, but in addition to this like hint of twang Southern sounding voice, I also apparently have like some other accent entirely also.
Oh, interesting.
And I think it's because very frequently I will like really, especially on the pop. I don't know that I always talk this way in real life, but I feel like because I can hear my own voice in the headphones in my ears.
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, I enunciate. Like I like really spend time on like each part of the word. And so I think that's what's happening. But I just
that
said,
you
like,
have this weird, because much of like really Southern sounding talk doesn't have a whole lot of enunciating in it.
Exactly. It's like everything is like sort of like rounded, soft edges.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I just said like elementary.
Right.
You know, and it's almost like I said like every part of the word.
Right.
Whereas like if I was like just talking to you or like, you know, asking about like when does Luke start elementary school? You know, like I wouldn't say it quite so, I don't know, spelled out, dictated, you know. So anyway, as I was saying that, I was like, that reminded me of that one email that I read that one time. So that's all. That's all I got there.
Interestingly, as Luke and Nick and Nate, Luke's talking, you know, significantly more now, and like Nick and Nate are starting to get a few words, but even just the barest words they have, there is that like Southern twang underneath a lot of the way they talk. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Because you sound like way more Southern than we do.
But that was the thing. When we were kids, we were exactly like that too. Like I always go back. Our dad made the Year in Carlin every year, which was like a compilation of all the things that happened in the Carlin family set to, you know, pop hits from the year. And I always remember in 1996, the Year in Carlin, 1996, you like were reading this thing. It said, "This year we got torch."
Yeah.
And it's like, I can hear, that's our dog.
It's the most famous line from any Year in Carlin was, "This year we got torch."
This year we got torch. And it was like, it was dead on. So I don't know, maybe it's like much more around us where we live than we realize. And
maybe.
So like as Luke is developing, you know, how he talks, he's like picking up on going beyond like how you and Beth might be,
right,
and taking in like all these other like tiny little details from all around him. And that's part of it. Actually, on this note as well, tell me if I've already brought this up, because I thought it was the most interesting thing and told just about everybody I knew when I first heard it. But I was watching a TikTok the other day where somebody was asking why is it when they watch all of their home movies from like the late 80s, early 90s, it seems like everybody talked differently. Like the English dialect across the board was very different. Or if you go back and do you remember Tom Brokaw, who was like the like news anchor, like the guy, like even the way that he like would tell a story on the news was different. Like the way that he talked was different. Okay. Yeah. So apparently in the 90s, like what was happening to like the English dialect for I guess American English speaking people was actually morphing specifically due to like the punk music that was coming out during the time, and like UK artists versus American artists who were like slowly like changing the way that they were like creating that voice for punk music that like we all know so well, like where are you and I'm so sorry, like,
okay,
you know, like that.
Nice. No, keep going.
I can't do it. My pulse, like if you had a heart rate monitor, we should keep one right here, just like so you can see it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I know I'm gonna have to do it. Like I know I'm gonna have to give the example, and it's gonna make me, I'm sweating. But apparently, like that kind of specifically punk music, like that voice that you can recognize, like the very like Blink 182 voice, literally was like changing the like English speaking American dialect in some way.
Right, and like so, the sort of like the cadence in which we deliver conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like if you were to go back and watch all those home movies from before this period of time, you would notice that people speak differently. And I just thought it was so interesting because I almost do think of punk music as slightly niche, you know, like it's not necessarily, not never, but not necessarily like your top 40 hits.
Well, I think in the 90s it was a lot more mainstream.
Okay.
Because that was sort of like the theme of the music itself was, I don't know. Well, maybe that didn't make sense the way I said that, but
sure, I understand. No. But it's like, I think when I think of the 90s, it may be in part due to the fact that I didn't really start listening to my own music until I was like the later 90s, like 97, 98, 99, when I was like, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, where I was listening to, you know, like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears and other cool things at the time.
Yeah, I think like our 90s experience was much more on the pop side of things. Yeah. Whereas I think like if you were maybe even just maybe like 2, 3, 5 years older than us, it was much more to the like grunge alternative rock kind of 90s music. Right.
So anyway, I mean, this is hopefully I was able to properly tell this story. I'm certainly no expert on like, dialect.
Actually, though, you telling this story has reminded me of a topic I wanted to talk about on the pop a while ago, but I think we should do it because it was a very interesting thing, and I think it'll be fresh on my mind now, but it's going to take me a second to look it up. So, Ethan, we might need a transition.
And we're back. Okay, so I put this in the notes forever ago. I completely forgot about it because we totally skated over it, but this is an awesome feature of I think it's from the Merriam-Webster website. Okay. Or like the dictionary. The dictionary.
You know, everyone's on the dictionary website all the time.
Constantly. Yeah, highly influential. Yeah. Is the dictionary.
I would almost say the Google search bar has like replaced the dictionary. It's like there are so many times when Google can just tell like you're just looking up the definition of a word.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like it's amazing. Yeah, it's like no, you're not looking for search results based on this word. It's obvious. You just want the definition or the spelling. There it is. Okay, great. So you don't have to enter sometimes. It's just like you spelled this wrong. Oh, okay. That's what I was looking for. Google, thanks.
You get me. Get me.
Okay, so what we have here, Ben.
Okay, lay it on me.
Is the dictionary's time traveler function, which is it will tell you when a word was first used in print. So like, if you go back to like the year I was born in 1988, you can look and see all the words that were like introduced that year.
What?
I know. Into the dictionary, or like in print. Must have been the first time they appeared like in a newspaper or in the dictionary or something.
Okay.
But some of them are, I thought some of these were like, let's just go down here. Like this one immediately blew my mind. Adaptive cruise control.
What?
I know. It was first used in 1988. And it was because if you were buying a car now, that's like a selling feature.
It is.
It's like a new feature.
I would even go so far as to say, because adaptive cruise control, in case you're unaware, is the ability of the car to basically use like a some type of radar or sonar or something to track the car in front of you and adjust your speed accordingly, so that like if you are on cruise control, like on a big long road trip, and somebody pulls in front of you who's going like slower, you don't have to like cancel out cruise control, like slow down for this person, like set it back in, do whatever, and then like they move over, and then you have to like speed up again. So it'll like live do it. But I would imagine that in 1988, that just basic cruise control hard stop would have been like a cutting edge feature of a car.
Like, because they didn't have adaptive. I can only guess that people were guessing at adaptive cruise control, or else people have been sitting on this forever for no reason.
It is outstanding to me sometimes when you discover that, not even discover, but like how much people were able to exactly predict this particular type of thing. Like I remember reading Ender's Game, which was like written before like home tablets ever existed by like a measure of 30 years.
Right.
And literally all the kids go to class in this like futuristic space environment with effectively tablets.
Yeah.
They call them desks, but they're like,
they're tablets.
They're tablets, and they have like text messaging, and you're like, man, like, was it commonplace enough that you could have just like this was more present, this thought was more present,
right?
Then
we'll be able to send each other text digitally soon.
So eventually, yeah. Like, because I even remember like the very first commercials ever for texting, and it was like like the letter C, the letter U, L8, the number 8. R, and it was like, that was like them being like, check it out, you can like shorthand everything, like
right.
See you later.
Yeah. G2G. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Okay, give me another word.
Okay, this one I almost can't believe it took until 1988, but JPEG.
Oh, weird.
I know, right? Like, that's when JPEGs became a thing, I guess. Or at least when they appeared in print.
Okay.
That's sort of same with
so like a photo file.
Yeah, so like so like what you would save as emo.
Okay.
Emo and gangsta to go in with our music there.
That's another one that's very interesting, is like I wonder, because I feel like by the time I got to high school, so now you'd be talking like 2004 through 2008, like the word emo was used as like a like very commonly like a type of like look or lifestyle that you may have.
Yeah.
Is like someone may have been emo. I think I'm using that right.
Yeah. It was like a aesthetic almost.
It was an aesthetic.
Or like a mood.
Yeah.
That's what you'd call it now. Like that guy has such a mood.
I associate it, and maybe this is like super generalizing like the whole idea, but I associate it with safety pins. I don't know why. Like
interesting.
I don't know if maybe what was happening was like patches could have been like a very like thing that would have fit this particular vibe, and people didn't know how to like iron them onto their backpack, so instead of ironing them on, they just literally like fasten them with safety pins. Someone will have to let me know.
Okay,
is that
you
a thing?
Emoing correctly?
Yeah.
Okay,
like, were safety pins part of the look?
Here's one I cannot believe was not in print until 1988. Are you ready?
Yeah, lay it on me.
Unibrow.
You're joshing
I am not
me.
joshing you. It is right here. I could how was no one used unibrow in print before 1988?
I disagree.
There's no way, right?
There's no way.
For people had this means people didn't have a word for unibrow,
right?
Unless they were calling it something else.
What was used pre-unibrow?
Monobrow, single brow. I don't know. Those don't even. Unibrow is the word.
It is the word. It is the thing.
It is the thing.
It's the correct word.
Yeah. What would you have called it? They didn't not. I mean, this is another weird thing about like words. It's like when there's not a word for a thing. Like I think the Vlog Brothers always very famously realized that you have a word, like the word like virgin exists. Like if you have never had sex before. There's
Okay.
that.
Right,
But there's not a word for if you have.
like the opposite of a virgin.
Yeah, what's the opposite?
That is.
There's not a word.
What if there is and my brain's just not getting there? This is, oh my gosh. I remember a year one Super Carlin Brothers video where we were talking about, I think I was talking about like the Joker from The Dark Knight or something. And I was like, there really needs to be a word for someone who is famous for like a negative reason. And it's like, the word's just infamous.
The word's just infamous.
And I was like, I remember, I think it was my question of the day that day. I was like, guys, help me come up, what would we call this? And it was like,
infamous.
There is a word. There is a word. This was, I go back to all my year one videos and I feel like this was just like very frequently I thought that I had such scope on a topic to discuss it. And then it was just usually the case that I just was blanking.
It's a very weird combination of like your brain like independently arrives at a lot of things, but because you arrived there without any reference from anything else, it like comes off as almost ignorant.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not know the word? Like you arrived at the concept of infamy independently, but you somehow also remain sheltered enough to need to do that.
Exactly. Yes. It is such a good way to describe.
It's like, yeah, the two sides of those coins are very weird because it's like, it's impressive that you got there, but it's also very unimpressive that you needed to get there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so this, I feel like this happens. I had one the other day that this was like, this is probably another one of those situations where it's just like, yeah, like maybe obviously, but I was thinking to myself like about this idea of like, what would be like a really good unifying idea that everybody could like relate to, and under that idea, like put together a set of like best practices for how to exist, like with all of the other people around you. And I was
like morals,
and it was
like the law,
or like religion.
Yeah,
And so like the thing that came to mind is I was like, oh, fear of death, and then I was like, you know what? That is religion. Like,
way to get there, Ben.
I know.
Way to get there.
Yeah. So I was like, guys, I on my own invented religion. this
now
week.
You sound like a cult leader.
No, I'm not suggesting you go to join Ben in his quest for worldpeace.com.org.
Okay. Yeah, please don't do that. I'm switching gears, and we're going to switch gears back into years.
Okay.
Now we're on your birth year.
Oh, okay, great. 1989.
Yes, we're on your birth year.
Yeah.
Here's let me just look. I haven't looked through yours before, but okay. Caffeinate. What?
No.
Like what? Certainly caffeine. People knew about caffeine. Maybe you didn't describe it as like caffeinating.
I mean, surely
it's caffeinated.
Right. Like
I'm thinking of Diet Coke. It has to be associated.
It has to be. It's like, I think it's because that's like the verb of caffeine, so it was like the ability to make something.
Okay.
Like, which maybe prior it was like there were substances that contained caffeine.
Right.
Like coffee beans or something.
Yeah.
But this was almost like the ability to like take that caffeine and apply it to something that maybe wouldn't have naturally had its own caffeine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or maybe people were maybe starting to like self-caffeinate, like maybe people just drank coffee as like because they enjoyed it, and now it was like for the caffeine.
Oh,
I have no idea. How can caffeinate not have been used in print before then?
Give me another one. I need one more.
Okay.
This game is way too fun.
It is so weird. Let me find.
Or some of these you can just like accept that
some of them are just not very interesting words.
Okay.
Scrunchy. What?
Scrunchy? Like for your hair?
For your hair.
Scrunchy sounds like one of those things like Kleenex where it's like Scrunchy was the brand, but then like it became so common practice that everybody referred to like those hair ties as scrunchies, to where it was like Scrunchy lost the ability to.
Oh, maybe.
Like, isn't this like potentially happening with Google right now, where it's like the word Google is so synonymous with searching for something on the internet?
We were just doing it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, is that like one of those? Is that one of those things that Google, they must be fighting, is the push for it to basically just be like, no, this is what this word means now. Or it's an alternate meaning for the word Google.
Google does not want that to happen.
No, of course they don't. Yeah. No, I mean, because then they lose the ability to like have the Google name.
Yeah.
I think it's like a trademarked something or another. But I am curious because it almost feels like it should have happened by now. So this makes me think that like there are some big time lawyers somewhere whose main job it is to prevent that from happening.
Oh yeah, well if anyone has the money to do that, it's Google.
It is. So. It is. It feels like a documentary that will happen at some point in time.
Right?
Okay, let me ask you about this though, because you talk about like Google having like so much money, and it's like one of these like fixtures of our world where it's almost like there's no way. Do I still have you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking ahead to the year 2020 to see what words were new in 2020, and it's a much shorter list. Almost all of them have to do with COVID, except one, which is murder hornet. Oh, hey, remember that week last year?
If only that had been our biggest problem.
Can you imagine if that was, for some reason, you can't choose the year 2019. Maybe there were no new words in 2019. That's weird.
It was an unproductive year for words.
Unproductive year. Words, they're just getting behind. Look, 2018, only 3 new words.
Well, we're slowing down. We're using more words.
We're figuring out all things are becoming named.
Yeah.
Basically. Is what I'm understanding. Man. Okay. Sorry. What were you? You were in the middle of something. I started laughing at murder hornets.
That's okay. I mean, if you needed to be distracted by one thing in particular, the most acceptable would have been murder hornets.
It's always acceptable to be distracted by a murder hornet.
It is. It is. We could make that. We could put that on a T-shirt. It is always acceptable to be distracted by a murder hornet.
Like, sorry, am I keeping you from something? Yeah. Well, it's just this murder hornet. Yeah.
It's like, if there's a murder hornet present, bring it up. Cut people off.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So that being said, though, talking about like Google as this like massive force, this massive entity, this thing that like is an immovable object of like United States corporate existence. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way very much about like Amazon. You know, it's like it is so ubiquitous. It is everywhere. Like I think that there's a stat that like 2 out of 3 Americans use it. It's like
it's a lot,
like a crazy amount.
We all have Amazon in common,
right? Yeah, right. That and fear of death.
Welcome to my religion.
Exactly. No, but so I was reading the other day because people have talked about like maybe sort of this like unprecedented amount of just like presence, but what this argument was making is that apparently Sears, going back to like the I think like 60s 70s, like when catalog ordering was like the way that you would purchase.
You do the thing.
You would do the thing, yeah. And it's like, and now, like, when was the last time you shopped at a Sears?
Never, Ben. Never.
It seems like they sell vacuums.
It seems. I'm surprised you went to vacuums of all things. I would have gone to maybe big screen TVs or lawnmowers.
I also,
or treadmills.
I could see all of these things.
Those are all, I'm pretty sure, within about 20 feet of each other at the Sears at our mall.
Well, it closed. It's no longer. It is no longer.
The last time I was at the Sears at our mall, you could be shopping you could be shopping for a big screen TV, not 10 feet away from someone shopping for a lawnmower.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like, how are these things so close to one another?
It's very weird now that you're comparing it to Amazon, because so often whenever I was like walking through Sears, because you had to like walk through there to get to the rest of the mall.
Right.
It was like one of the entrance stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like, what is this place? What did they even sell? They sell everything and seemingly nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you were to describe Amazon, it's like, yeah, what would you go to Amazon for? Literally anything. And that's basically what I guess Sears was at one point doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just in person.
So like, I think if you were to like talk to our grandparents about like Sears as an entity, they would have seen it the exact same way that we probably see Amazon in the present.
Yeah.
Which is to say that like it was just like, it was the place you go. It is where everybody shops for everything and they sell everything.
Yeah.
And so I think like what's kind of mind blowing to me would be like imagining that world where like we have not just kids, but grandchildren, and they would have like a similar take on Amazon.
Yeah, they're like, oh god, what are you guys still shopping on Amazon? Okay.
It's like, my dad still goes online, or my grandfather still goes online. And he likes to order things on Amazon. They have the 2-day shipping thing. It's like they're whatever. It's like, you can go over here to. I mean,
you can put it right in the transporter. You can have it in literal seconds.
But
they don't trust the transporter.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That was the number one thing from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is I think that they had a microwave oven where you could like order and it would microscopize the particles and like reconstruct it in your microwave.
Yeah.
So you could just like, punch in something and have like a chocolate bar like in your whatever.
There it is.
And it's like, whoa, that is neat. I wonder if this is like us describing, what was it? Adaptive cruise control.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is the equivalent.
Right. This was the first time transporter was put in.
Yeah.
No.
Everybody has to have their home transporter.
Right.
Yeah. No. So anyway, somewhere along the way, we tangented because you brought up the thing about words, but I was going to step over into I was gonna say like elementary education, but also maybe even like one step beyond that is just general education that I think it's really interesting that we don't have as like more of an integrated part of just growing up is.
I'm listening. We're good.
You were so distractible. Okay, so
murder hornets.
I don't believe you. Not a good opportunity for murder hornets. No, where was I going though? Oh, okay. So it's just like this general sense of knowledge on how to do things. So your wife Beth at one point in time recommended to me this Instagram page where it's literally someone who is like a house cleaner.
Yeah.
Like there's someone who comes in and does like that deep clean of your house. Like you would hire them and they know how to like do all the stuff. And they've got like the buckets with the different types of chemicals and like rags and wipes and all the different stuff. And so since she showed it to me, I've actually become quite fascinated in this corner of just general social media. So Instagram, TikTok, both. Like I follow people that like just show you how to clean things. Yeah. And very frequently it's just like basic household cleaners. And it's like, just go and service your whatever, like take care of your things. And it's like the fact that like someone has to like that, like I am the age that I am. And I am just like, I'm just now learning it because there is someone out there who realized that there was like such a significant need for how to clean a thing.
Yeah.
Like, cause for me, I would say that like the way that I clean everything is I have all purpose cleaner.
Yeah.
And everything is clean.
It says it right here. All purposes.
All purposes. It's like
all things can be cleaned.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't specialize in anything. It's just generally good for everything.
Right.
And because of that, I don't know. It's just I am blown away by the fact that this is like something that you do need to be taught. And so like going beyond that though, it's also things like, how to do an oil change on your car. Like how hard do people think it is to change your oil? Like there is probably the layer of it is maybe more like inconvenient to do this particular task because like it might require like potentially jacking up your car and crawling underneath it, and you might need like a tool to like open.
I assume, my guess for changing your oil is that you need to be beneath the car with the wrench and something to catch the oil, and then that when it comes out.
Sure.
And then you just pour more in the top and that's it.
Right. But like, compare that to like the idea of like you being the person who like mows your own lawn or something. It doesn't feel like that's like a particularly difficult thing to do. And yet it does require like going and spending hours outside in the sun. And you do have to do it fairly frequently. And you have to have a special piece of equipment to do it.
Yeah.
And yet but like many people do.
Yeah.
So it's like, is this the type of thing where like more people would just change their own oil if you just knew how like to do it?
Probably. I mean, it feels like daunting. And the question is, like, are people not cleaning like their, dishwasher filter because they don't know their dishwasher has a filter?
Yeah.
Or because they just don't know how. Like, yeah, because that I use that as an example because I also am familiar with the page you're talking about, and I was scrolling through it and it was like, oh yeah, did you know your dishwasher has a filter? It's super easy to clean. You just pop it out, rinse it off, and you might want to take all the clunks out, or all the big chunky things down there. And it's like, if you didn't know, be prepared. There's probably a lot of things down there.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute, what? There's a filter? Like, how? What?
Yeah, like when you go in, like, yeah, you buy your dishwasher, you buy like a washing machine. Like, how little time, if any at all, do you spend learning how to maintain that machine?
Right, like none.
Yeah. And it's like, there's so many of these things that exist out there in the world that are just like general information, just like things like when you go to school, you should just have a class that is just like general info 101. And it's like every single year they take you and you spend time doing some of these things,
Right.
I mean, like the one that everybody always brings up is like, how to balance a checkbook or like manage your finances or, things like that. But even the idea of like making a big financial purchase, like what types of things affect your credit score, like how much money do you need to make in order to like purchase a house safely? It's like there's like all these like big questions that once you're out in the free world, it's kind of like you're trailblazing stuff that plenty of people just know how to do.
Right.
It's like why are we all left out here finding our own paths when it's just like generally known information? Like, is there just a limit to how many things they can teach us? Or is it the case that like learning history is like this much more important than knowing like how to maintain your dishwasher? Like, and I know that sounds ridiculous because of like history is obviously incredibly important and there's like tons of stuff to know about it, but it's also like you may not interact with historical things. Maybe this is a bad example because history just feels like it is always important, but just take like a topic, I don't know, like English literature or something like that, where it's like, how much is that going to come up versus like things you are definitely going to be like running into as your life progresses.
I guess I mean, we're getting into a whole conversation then about, education and what should be taught in schools and things like that.
Sure.
But it's like, it's the question of what.
Do you think anybody's ever talked about that before?
I think plenty of people talk about it. And it is a weird question of like, what are you expected to just sort of like learn at the house and what should the, country be responsible for you knowing?
Right. Yeah. And maybe it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know where this would exist, but I feel like I almost feel like I could like, or that it would be interesting to just have a huge warehouse just full of like tons of stuff and just literally teach classes on like all of those things. It's like, here's a little bit that you can know about all stuff.
Like all the stuff.
Here's a place you can go and practice changing your tire.
Right.
Like, because it feels like tires always go flat when it's pouring rain and you're on the side of the highway.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah. The first time most people learn how to change a tire is when you have to.
Yeah.
Which is an extra layer of frustration on top of what is undoubtedly an extremely stressful situation to begin with, because you were just in probably a near car wreck because your tire popped.
Right.
Or else you just have gone onto uncomfortable road and that's what caused your tire to pop. But,
right. Yeah. Or you're in like a circumstance like where you're dealing with quite possibly one of the most expensive individual things that you own, which is your car. And so it's like we're like very hesitant to like touch them at all for fear of like breaking them.
Right.
It's like, well, I don't want to mess up. And like for me, I remember the first time I ever got a flat tire, I was like off-roading and I was like going up this like really crazy piece of terrain and the tire didn't like pop, it like exploded.
Boom.
There was like a 9-inch hole in it. And so it's like the first time I was ever changing a tire was quite literally like on the side of like a wall of earth, and like, I'm like, I guess I got to put a jack under here. And it's like, it's not flat ground. And like, I don't even know how to take the one off the back. I mean, it's like everything about it was.
Someone get the instruction manual.
I really need to not call mom and dad because they really need to not know that I'm here.
All right. So I'm going to have to figure this out. No.
Yeah. So
I remember the first time I ever had to change a tire. I was driving Beth home. So I was just in between our houses, and I remember it taking me about 5 seconds after the tire had blown to like figure out in my brain what had happened.
Oh, like while you're driving the car, it's like you now have a flat, and it's almost like, why is the car driving?
Yeah, it's like something is wrong. I remember like we made it enough down the road that like I definitely should have pulled over earlier, but I remember when they eventually, I had to like change the tire there on the side of the road, which was hard.
Yes.
Because it was, dark and uneven ground. The jack that's built into the car, like doesn't work very well and all that stuff. But it's like, it's there. It'll work. It'll work great if you're sitting on a perfect flat level cement ground.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're working with, broken asphalt on the side of the road, not so much. But whenever we brought the now popped wheel into the the repair shop afterwards to get a new tire, they were like, I have never seen anyone take this much rubber off a tire before.
Oh my gosh!
I've always thought about that. Like, what was I doing in the car that allowed me to continue to drive it as far as we did?
Right. Yeah, to the point where like literally every other person who has a flat tire reacted to it sooner.
Right. Yeah.
Like to where the guy at the tire shop has not seen. It's like, this one hasn't come up.
Hasn't come up.
Unique circumstance, sir.
All I can think, Ben, is that that instinct took over on an unknowable level, and that I just muscled the car off. Like I was able to maneuver it in such a way that I kept that tire from just forcing me to veer off the road.
Wow.
Extreme. Yes.
So you're like a superhero.
Basically. Yeah. That's my main takeaway. I was like, I must be a superhero.
I can't wait for your kids to find out. Like, it's gonna be a big day for them. It's like, wow. Listen, kids, if you have a flat tire, you have the right guy at the wheel.
That's right.
Because he will take it further than he should.
Take it further than I should have.
Right.
Further than even seemed possible.
To the guy at the tire shop.
To the guy at the tire shop whose only job is to deal with this exact problem.
Yes. My unique situation.
That's right.
Oh man. But so, okay, continuing on this topic though, it's like another one of those things. So like you're going through high school and like everybody is like learning how to like even date for the first time, right? And so this was like another topic that I was like, if they had a class in like, I don't know, 9th or 10th grade that was like how to break up with somebody and how to be broken up with, it's like let's talk about some of the emotions that you're going to experience, because otherwise we're just going to let you spin out and attempt to figure out what you're doing and not realize that you have a flat tire and carry on for a way longer than you should.
Hey, that's how you discover you have superpowers, Ben. I don't know.
Well, there's that.
I would say that's an interesting, I don't know, relationship stuff. That almost feels like to teach like there's the proper way to be broken up with. That's like, here's the way that the feelings you're allowed to have or something.
Well, and it's not that. I think that it's more like, I think that like early on, and like this was the case for me. I won't speak for other people. I will speak for me. It was the case that like, if I was going to break up with somebody, I so badly knew that it was like, I knew it was going to be emotional. Like I knew it was going to be hard. And the number one thing that I wanted to do was like lessen that. And so usually when it comes to a breakup, anything that you can say that will actually lessen the impact of breaking up with a person is you giving them some amount of false hope.
Right.
Because like otherwise it is exclusively a negative conversation,
right?
Because it is you've got like that butt sandwich that I think we talked about in the very early stages of the pop, which is like you could sit down and be like, listen, you're great.
The butt crack.
Oh, the butt crack.
The butt crack.
Not a butt sandwich. Yeah. A butt crack. Good clarification. The butt crack, because anything that was said before the butt crack basically doesn't matter. It's like it's the worst time to compliment somebody when you are about to deliver a butt crack.
I think you also want to avoid a butt sandwich, though. You don't want to be like, look, you're great and all, but we need to break up. But we can still be friends.
Butt sandwich.
There's the butt sandwich.
We found it. I'm so glad that I didn't you know what? Merriam-Webster.
Yeah.
That's totally going to be
there. You go. Butt sandwich.
Butt sandwich. Put me down for
You're
2021.
Welcome. 2021. We just did it.
I hope I get credit.
Yeah.
Ben Carlin coined this.
Right there.
But you're exactly correct. You're exactly correct, because it's like at that point too, you're attempting to say like maybe sometime in the future it could work out, or like maybe this thing could change and at that point in time this could work out. And it's like the best, this sounds bad, but like the best breakup that I ever had in my life was the one where I was like so aware that any false promise was going to be the worst possible thing that I could do. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it's kind of like it's like one situation where it's like, there is no lingering anything. It made that day incredibly hard, but the further that I get from it, it's like, it was the cleanest break because I was clear.
Right.
And it was like, because I resisted the very tempting, like notion to suggest that there is still some potential somewhere.
Right.
Maybe some other time.
So just like backing up though, are you saying that you wish you'd had like an official class where someone was like, now when you're breaking up with someone, and it'll probably happen to you at some point in life, you want to make sure it's a completely clean break.
Well, okay. I mean, there's certainly tact involved with how you would deliver this particular message.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't need to be like the gym teacher teaching you this particular idea, but I think like you could almost have not like a psychology class where you learn about psychology, but almost like a class that is like specifically revolving around the idea of emotions. It's like, what are you going to be going through? Like, what are the things, like even helping to outline to the person the idea that including that false hope, it's like helping the people understand how that can and will be problematic.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know. It's hard because every single relationship out there is going to be like its own unique snowflake of a situation, but I still feel like there's that idea of like, if you have come to the point where you were deciding to break up with somebody, even if there is in your mind the potential to revisit it later, it's like that is something it's almost like your own burden. Like, yeah. It's like you, at some point in time in the future, if you're like, I am going through grad school, I can't date somebody right now, this needs to be over, and you're like, I do like this person, I would love to revisit it in the future. It's like you don't tell them that. It's like once you finish grad school, if they're still available, then it's like, I am done with school, I am now open to a relationship. Would you still be interested? And it's like, that way you're not like leaving that person, on the hook, unable to move on. Because that is like a big responsibility when breaking up with somebody is trying to make sure that they're not left just, in like this limbo land of potential.
That should be a responsibility you take into consideration. I think some people intentionally, that's the other half of it, is that a lot of people, I think, it makes them feel safer to have you on the hook.
The safety net.
Yeah, safety net.
But so that is the thing though. It's like, is there a way to like educate somebody on this particular idea, or is there even some type of like school of hard knocks knowledge, wisdom, what have you, to suggest that like these are lessons that you need to learn on your own? I think no matter, when it comes to like matters of the heart like this, yes, I think no matter what amount of book learning you try and do, the only real way to learn it is to just suffer through it. Like, you can try and Hermione the situation and learn how to ride that broomstick, but it doesn't matter how much you read if when push comes to shove, either you can fly or you can't. I understand. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's certainly a good way to. And I'm not necessarily suggesting the idea that like that you need to like book learn all of these particular things. But like we've talked a lot about like forgiveness lately. We've talked about, I don't know, different pieces of like psychology. But for me, one of the biggest ones that made a huge bit of difference was once I really firmly understood the stages of grief, which I specifically learned because we were making a video about how Finding Nemo basically demonstrates Marlin going through the stages of grief.
Right.
So like it was us making that video. It was like our own piece of content that like was both intended to be educational, but educational for me as well. I think that like understanding like when something, happens as you're going through each of those stages, it's like, I haven't left anger yet. It's like, I'm still mad, and it's like being able to like, at the very least recognize that it's like, okay, I know where I am in this process, and I know that I'm not at like, let's communicate about it now. Now is not the time.
Right.
Like we haven't started.
It does help you understand more like what you're going through.
Yeah.
For sure. And it does offer like maybe like, you're angry, and that doesn't make you less angry, but at least you are able to identify that this is a regular pattern.
Right.
And that hopefully you will get through it, I guess. Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah. So that's the thing though. So it's like the very famous, like, it's not you, it's me, like breakup line. It's like, I bet that everybody knows, even if you ultimately say that exact sentiment, I bet you know better than to say those words, because it's like, it's so cliche,
Right.
it's been so talked about that chances are not to say it in that exact way, even though you could literally be saying like, you've done nothing wrong, it's my own personal situation, which is the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like that is the sentiment. But being able to recognize, or at least have that type of consideration in mind, I think if you had good ways to think about the other processes of going through breakups and stuff, that I think that you could implement them. I think it's possible.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's probably not a direct, here's how to do it, here's what to expect, but just having like conversations about it and what those kind of things might be.
Yeah.
Like would be helpful to people experiencing adolescence.
Yes, yeah. And because I would say for me, like one of the big things about this particular problem in high school was like the ins and outs of either breaking up with somebody or being broken up with, I would say were the number one distractions from me focusing on school.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, this is a situation where it was like, I have like a biology test tomorrow, but also like this person is breaking up with me right now. It's like, I'm not going to be like, sorry, I have to go study to, like, can we pick this up tomorrow? It's like I didn't have that capacity at that age at all. I still don't even think I would have that capacity.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I mean, does this make sense? Like, could you be on board with a world where you're like better educated on this particular thing?
I mean, on this particular thing, I think where we started was just on more things that were like commonplace household know-how.
Right. Well, I mean, it's all under the umbrella of general stuff you should know 101.
Okay. There you go. General 101.
Right.
Life 101
with Ben.
Maybe
that can just be like a new channel idea. It's like we're just going to tackle stuff you should know. And like I'm sure that already exists. I bet this channel called Stuff You Should Know.
I think I know Michael T. Martin used to have a channel called How to Adult, and it was sort of stuff like this, like how to do your laundry.
Amazing.
Yeah. How to make coffee.
I do remember having to call mom and ask her how to do laundry for the first time.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Way to go.
There you go. Pretty good. I think I know that because I made a video which was how to embrace your inner child that went up on that channel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How do you embrace your inner child?
Ooh, well, you can go watch the video if you want.
Is that code for it? I don't remember what I said.
I mean, Ben, if my entire life is not a walking example of how to embrace your inner child, then I don't know what I'm doing.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
That is reasonable. Okay, so I have one last tidbit to leave you on as we maybe near close of today's episode.
Okay.
Okay. So I have been talking. So our kitchen renovation is like 98% done. We still have to get like a backsplash put in, but otherwise, like we have counters, we have functioning appliances, all the stuff, right? Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. But one of the things that we got during the Renovation is like one of those cabinets where you open it and then there's like 2 trash cans inside that you can like pull out like on a slidey thing.
Okay, yeah.
And so the front one is like the trash and then the back one is like our recycling bin. Mm-hmm. And the thing about our recycling bin that gets me all the time is that like we drink like canned beverages in our house probably more than anything else that specifically goes into the recycling bin.
Really?
Yes, I think so.
You don't have like cardboard that goes in the recycling bin?
Well, I have like big stacks of cardboard from like shipments and stuff that come in that I break down and put in like my bin that gets picked up by the city. Okay. So I have like a separate big bin for that. This is like the one in my cabinet.
All right.
So it's like, you know, the size of this. Hold your hands like 30 inches apart. It's that big. So one of the things that like I've really wanted to do for the longest time, we got one here for the office, is get like a can crusher. And me being me, you know, it needed to be like a fun can crusher, right? So
are not all can crushers fun?
Well, they are all fun.
Okay.
But like even more fun.
Even more fun. Yeah, what makes it even more fun?
You got to add that special sauce. It's a pneumatic can crusher, so it actually hooks up to like an air compressor.
Okay.
So it's like if you can imagine like a piston that has one job, which is to crush a can.
Okay.
It's like you set your can in and then it like shoots forward when you press like a nice big like green button.
Okay.
And it's like ka-choosh, and then like the can drops into like, you know, the vessel below where you store all of your crushed cans, because you can store way more crushed cans than uncrushed cans,
right.
obviously.
And
so it's been like something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've been super excited about it, and it's like, okay, this is cool. And what I really want to do is install a tube that is basically like a laundry chute for cans up to our kitchen, because our basement is right below where the pneumatic can crusher is.
Okay.
So it'd be like whenever you finish your can, you just walk over and there's like a pipe that's sort of like, you know, is neatly put away. Let me be clear, because Alice would have you believe that it would just be like a pipe jutting out into the middle of our kitchen. Not that. It would be like tucked away nicely. Mm-hmm. But it'd be like a 3-inch wide pipe that when you finished your drink, you could just go drop it into the pipe and it would drop straight through down below to our basement, where you would have like a trash can that catches all of the
cans.
All of the large cans.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like once a week or whatever, you could go down there and use the can crusher to like smash everything and like, you know, properly dispose of it. But the goal for me is like, you know, I don't want to fill up this recycling bin under the cabinet constantly and all the time with cans, because it would just be like, it's just too much.
Why is it too much?
Because I just constantly have to like take it out, you know, and it's
but they'd be crushed, right?
No, they wouldn't be crushed because the crusher is downstairs.
Why is okay? Let me weigh in here.
Okay, weigh in.
Because your pneumatic can crusher sounds like a fancy piece of like Ben Carlin purchasery.
Certainly.
Yeah, but I have to say, Ben, I think you have lost the spirit of the can crusher.
I don't think I have.
I think you have removed the true joy of crushing it with your hand.
But it's like you get to press a button.
No, Ben, the button push has nothing on the pulling of the lever. That is I think you are removing joy from your life.
No.
Absolutely. Yes.
Hard disagree.
Ben, the fun of the can crusher is using your hand to crush it.
I don't think that's the fun of it. I think it's the being crushedness. It's the efficiency of like how small the cans become, and
but they become equally as small.
I know, but to me, if the smallness is what is great about it, then it's not like, then I don't think there's anything wrong with how you crush them, whether it be by hand or by button.
Okay.
So it's like, I think that it's like what I like to embrace is the fact that I don't have to unnecessarily overfill my recycling bin when most of it is just the air that exists inside of the cans when they could be small.
Right. But the problem is that then why can't the thing be upstairs next to your recycling can?
Oh, well, I mean, because it's underneath a cabinet. So there'd be like no way, there'd be like, if you were to mount a can crusher, like a wall mounted one, like we have here at the office, anywhere in my kitchen, it would have to be far enough away that you would like walk over, like outside of the kitchen, crush the can, walk back over, open the cabinet, pull the thing out, put the crushed can in, put it back, close the door. Right?
So your solution is instead to drop it through a hole in the floor, walk down the stairs, put it in a thing, push a button, put it in a thing.
Okay. See, and you're using logical fallacy.
Okay.
It's
Am I?
Scarecrow. Yes. So you are using the logical fallacy, which makes what I am saying sound equally ridiculous.
Okay.
Or also false equivalency would be another one that could fall into this category. Because what I am saying is that, like, if I have to continuously repeat the process of unnecessarily quickly overfilling my trash can to the point where I have to, like, consistently take it outside with, like, multiple trips over time, what this is doing is simplifying the process so that it's like a one-stop drop.
No, but you won't have to take it out over and over because they'll be crushed when they go into the can the first time.
If then you have to walk over across the room to crush the can and then put it in the bin.
I mean, but then you're still right there.
It's economies of scale, because I feel like over time, if it takes you that, like, extra, like, 30 seconds to do that process every single time versus simply dropping them in one spot and then, like, having, like, a dedicated time where you crush everything very quickly, then it's like you're not always doing a small task. Every once in a while, you're doing a small task. Does that make sense?
I think it just depends how long your small task would take. I don't know how long it takes to load up and crush a can with the button every time.
Well, so that's the thing, is, like, I'm not saying, like, drop it through the floor, walk downstairs, crush it.
No, I know, but I don't even know how long it would take to, like, remove a can from your collected bin of air-filled cans, put it in, push the button, like, and then take it out of the machine and do another one.
Oh, I mean, you wouldn't even have to take it out of the machine, because when it crushes, it drops through, like, a slot.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't, like, you put the can in, push the button, drops. Push the can in, press the button, drops.
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow?
I follow.
Okay. So
I bet I could beat your machine with a hand crusher.
I doubt it.
I bet I could beat your machine.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's on.
All right.
It's on. We will have a competition.
Okay.
To see who can out crush the other.
Mm-hmm.
And it is officially on.
All right.
So I guess my question for everybody else is then, because since I clearly can't convince Jay, is what level of ridiculous would it be to have effectively a laundry chute, but in the form of a discrete tube inside of your kitchen for the function of exiting your cans elsewhere?
Okay, well, let Ben know.
I need to know all of your information. Otherwise, I feel like we've reached a good stopping point.
I think so.
Because we clearly can't go on.
We can.
Nailed it.
That's the corny joke for the day.
Hey, there it is. All right, guys, if you want to send in any feedback you have about the show, you can do so at popcornculturepod@gmail.com. If you have any just, like, fun tidbits that you want to share with the rest of the popcorn culture community, you can do so over on Reddit, where we have, like, a fun and active page with lots of people who are doing all sorts of cool stuff. And if you want to support the show on Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/popcornculture. Otherwise, until next week,
pop.